Happy Friday, everybody. It is game day eve, and joining me today is the man that will be on the call tomorrow. That is SEC Network's Chris Doering. Chris, good to see you, buddy.
Mike, good to be on with you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So I know you're busy right now. You're getting ready to head on down to Columbia from Charlotte, so let's get right into it. What are you looking forward to the most with tomorrow night's game?
I feel really lucky to be on this call. Obviously, there's some higher profile games in the conference, but not many higher profile stories in the offseason. The announcement that Spencer Rattler was transferring to South Carolina, this is one of those game-changing things, in my opinion, for this program. It was validation that, South Carolina is a place that's on the rise, that Shane Beamer makes great relationships that are long-lasting since he's known Spencer Rattler back at Oklahoma, and the fact that Spencer saw enough potential for him to come and compete in the SEC at a place like South Carolina. So I think that in and of itself is kind of what I'm excited about. But could you imagine if South Carolina has a great season, he has a great season, what that could mean for recruiting going forward beyond that? I mean, it's a lot of positive stuff going on, and that's probably the cherry on the top of the Sunday right now for me.
I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because look, this is how I look at it. Pom-pom season's over, right? The hype, the buzz, everything that's been going on, what this could do for the future of this program, because now if you put it on the field and apply, at the end of the day, you want good recruits, hire 4 stars, possibly 5 stars, get the wins. We feel the buzz in Columbia. We feel the buzz in the state of South Carolina. From a national media standpoint, is it the same, or do you feel at least a little bit of it? What is it like on the outside looking in?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. And I've gotten to know Shane fairly well over the last year plus. And I can't say enough about the authenticity with which I feel he exudes to everybody. I'm a guy that gets to cover the conference, and he gives me access, and really you get the feeling that you have a personal relationship with him. And it must really flow through to the players and those that he's recruiting, because you see this gravitation towards him and what the players have been able to do in just a little over a year, and believing that they can compete for an SEC East championship. So I think the sky's the limit as they continue to add talent and develop that talent and put results out on the field. I think this is only a program that's going to get stronger and stronger.
As someone that has played in games like this, playing at Florida, playing against, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Georgia State. I think they're going to be a better matchup in comparison to Eastern Illinois a year ago. But you go into a game like this with a guy like Spencer Rattler. For you personally, in your opinion, walking away from this game, what should make you feel good about Rattler? Is it the stats? Is it just the way that he looks out there from a composure standpoint? Just the way that he takes what the defense is giving him? I mean, because this is going to happen on Monday. Everyone's going to overanalyze every throw that he makes.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know that there's anybody that's happier in the state of South Carolina than Marcus Satterfield, right? To do what he did last year with 4 different quarterbacks, to get to 7 wins with basically both hands tied behind his back. I feel really excited for what we're going to see. And not only Spencer Rattler, but what the offense can look like. We've been able to incorporate some of the things that they used at Oklahoma that may have fit Spencer Rattler's eye a little bit. The whole playbook that Marcus Satterfield has. So what I want to see is command of the offense from Spencer. I want to see distribution of the football. Last year it was kind of the Josh Vann show. Who are some of those other receivers that are going to step up in supporting roles around him? And obviously the tight ends. I don't know that we've talked enough about Jaheim Bell and Austin Stogner and what those 2 guys can do in terms of creating matchup issues. I think we see a lot of 12 personnel and what that allows you to create some issues with the defense having to try to match personnel. So I just want to see some sort of rhythm and continuity offensively, and knowing that these guys have an unquestioned leader at the quarterback position, unlike last year.
You hit on it before a little bit with Shane Beamer and just what he's doing here, and you can feel it on the outside looking in. You've had an opportunity, whether it be at the coaches' meetings, whether it be at SEC media days, you've had a chance to be able to talk with him and be around him just in person. What is your initial takeaways from him? Because I think people hear from us, right, the local media, they see it, okay, maybe they're just throwing some fluff out there about he's authentic, he's this, he's that. What are your initial takeaways from just being around him?
Well, I think, a lot of people nationally probably thought it was a strange hire when South Carolina announced that Shane Beamer was going to be the next coach. But in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. Sure, he was never a head coach before, wasn't even a coordinator. But most importantly, he was a Gamecock during some of the most successful years in that program's history. He understands the culture of that area. He understands the people in the state. And most importantly, too, the guy just is a relationship builder. And that goes back to all of the former players that I know got their opinions heard when they were going through the coaching search. And you can see, as I mentioned before, the draw in reconnecting with Spencer Rattler, being able to go out and recruit talent that can change this program and take it back to near where it was when they won back 11 win seasons under Coach Spurrier. So I can't say enough about the guy. You know, obviously I mentioned Coach Spurrier there. I'm part of the Steve Spurrier First Year Coach of the Year award, of which Shane Beamer was a co-recipient of that last year. They did such a good job after the talk of all the player exodus through the transfer portal in the preseason and not necessarily knowing how they were going to fare in year number one. For them to have that success and to be able to build on that success with so many, 9 scholarship players from the transfer portal deciding to come to Columbia this year, and keeping that culture. When you bring people from the outside like that, sometimes you wonder whether or not it's going to disrupt the locker room. But I have enough faith in the culture that he's created there to know that those guys that are coming in are going to fall in line.
Let's pivot for a minute because it's a good transition. You mentioned those 11-win seasons. You made a prediction that I'm sure some Gamecock fans are just absolutely loving right now, right? Even though they don't play Kentucky until October 8th. Recently, you made a prediction that Kentucky will go 11-1 this year. What makes you feel so strong about that, Chris?
Well, much like I talked about the culture of South Carolina, the culture of Kentucky has changed considerably from what they used to be known for. Mark Stoops is heading into his 10th season in Lexington. He's the second longest tenured coach in the SEC. I believe that he's the best. Him and his staff are the best at developing talent. They, in the past, haven't been able to recruit the 4- and 5-star players that some of the other SEC teams have. But they have taken an idea of what the program could be like and brought that to fruition. So I just look at the schedule. I think it sets up very favorably for them. They've had a level of success against South Carolina in recent years. Shoot, they've had a level of success against my alma mater. For a while, it was 31 years in a row of beating Kentucky. And now in the last 4, they're 2-2. I think you look at what they have to do this year. Going to Knoxville is going to be a challenge for them. But they do get Mississippi State at home. They've had success against the Bulldogs there. And then November 19th, I starred that as a game where they have a chance to potentially get over that hurdle against Georgia. Could you imagine if the SEC East is on the line and the Bulldogs come to Lexington in late November? So I do think I've been met with some laughter. People have thought that I was out of my head. I've talked to a lot of people at my alma mater that have called me disloyal. But from the unbiased, the perspective here in the media, I think that Kentucky has a chance to be the 3rd best team in the conference this year.
And that's what you are, man. You're always unbiased. I'll always back you up on
I'll try to, man. I appreciate it.
I got to ask you this, though. This is a question that I know a lot of people always ask on the message boards over at Gamecock Central. We find out a week in advance when the games are going to be taking place and who's going to be on the call and this and that. I'm not asking for you to say that you know the specific details, but how early do you guys find out, the broadcasting crew?
They don't give us any information. I find out when you guys do. I find out when it's getting tweeted on social media. So I love the opportunity to get out of the studio. You know, I've just enjoyed the family that I have here at the SEC Network with Doering and Benjamin Watson and this year adding Takeo Spikes. But it is fun. That's the one thing I miss is the live atmosphere of being on site, calling a game. And I heard today that it's a sellout at Williams-Brice. Mm-hmm. Nothing more fun than a night game there, the 2001 Space Odyssey, the great tradition, Sandstorm. Like I'm getting chills thinking about what it's going to be like against this is not going to be a walkover, as you mentioned at the beginning. I think South Carolina needs to be aware that they're going to be in for a 4-quarter fight. Sean Elliott returning to the state there, mm-hmm. his ties to not only growing up there, but being on the sideline. As the interim head coach and just the number of SEC players that have transferred to Georgia State. They got some talent, and they took Auburn to the wire last year. They beat Tennessee in 2019, so they're not going to be intimidated by that Williams-Brice Stadium environment on Saturday night.
Yep. So many storylines. Shoot, Jadeveon Clowney's going to be there. Jersey's
Yeah.
getting retired before at halftime. Just going to be absolutely electric. Chris, appreciate you. Be sure to tune into the game 7:30 ESPN Plus to be able to watch South Carolina take on Georgia State, excuse me. It's week 1. We're all trying to work out the preseason kinks.
Knock that rust off, right? Yeah.
I told you I'm going to be back down there. I'm flying down there, so that could be a little breaking news depending on who's listening to this. Looking forward to seeing you, bud, and I'll give you some Bojangles cards when I see you.
Yes, please do. Love the Bojangles, man. Appreciate you, Mike.
Take care, Chris.